without objection and then we discuss, we can do that. That's the.
Okay, so has everyone seen the addendum agenda? Is there any objection to adding those items? We got what, 3 items?
Yes, sir.
All right, is there any objection?
Mayor Pro Tem, let you know the Commissioner Sias say he having trouble getting in.
Okay, Jeff, can you help me?
Yes, sir. I'll take care of it.
But we added without any problem whatsoever. Let's give him about 2 minutes to get in. I'll tell you what, Ms. Bonner, in the meantime, we can go ahead and look at.
He's here.
You want to go ahead and look at the consent agenda? Ms. Bonner, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to ask you if you want to go ahead with the recognition of Ms. Brown and then Commissioner Sias, maybe.
Okay, well, we can go ahead and do the recognition. Yes, ma'am.
Today, the commission would like to offer its congratulations to Ms. Patricia Brown as Augusta, Georgia's Employee of the Month for February 2021. The Employee Committee has selected Patricia Brown as the February 2021 Employee of the Month for Augusta, Georgia. Ms. Brown works with the Augusta Environmental Services Department, where she has been employed for nearly 5 years. She was nominated by Keith Daniels, accounting manager. Mrs. Patricia Brown is the most pleasant person I have met in my life. I feel privileged to work with her. She is a no-nonsense kind of person. She takes pride in her work. You can rely on her to do a good job. Patricia exemplifies dedication and commitment to her job and fellow employees. She is an asset to the Environmental Service Department and to Augusta. As a parks clerk, Patricia Brown has been an indispensable member of the department for 5 years. She is very reliable and dependable. She provides an outstanding level of quality control for the daily routine. Patricia is extremely conscientious and personable. She is at the center of employees' gatherings. She is always first to provide comfort and understanding to fellow employees in need. You can ask anyone in environmental services. I can guarantee you they will enjoy working with her. Based on this nomination and Patricia's outstanding service, the Employee Recognition Committee would like to have you join us in recognizing her as Employee of the Month for February 2021. Again,
Thank you.
Congratulations, Ms. Brown.
Exactly. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Is the Human Resource Director in? She's not?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Let's move forward. We got 5 minutes. Excuse me, Ms. Bonner. The next one. Ms. Bonner.
Yes, sir.
Or do we need to go ahead and go to Ms. Ingram?
Mr. Ingram, yes, sir.
Mr. Ingram, I'm sorry. Well, let me ask you a question before we get started. It's more of a situation for us. Is this something for the tax people?
Well, from what I understand it, he went to the tax commissioner's office seeking a refund. And their answer to him was that the tax commissioner could not authorize this, that the commission would have to. So
Okay.
He's here to make his plea to the commission. I'm not sure. I didn't substantiate that information regarding the tax commissioner's office. So.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's bring him on.
Okay. Mr. Ingram S. Carr, regarding refund of school tax payments for the last 4 years. Mr. Carr, could you please give us your name and address, please?
Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Ingram S. Carr. I live at 1206 Holman Drive in Hepzibah, Georgia, 30815.
Okay, Mr. Carr, you've got about 5 minutes to make your case, sir.
I am a retired disabled veteran. I served in the US Army for 20-something years. I am here to ask for your help. I overpaid my property tax for 3 years to the tune of nearly $3,000. Every year, I spent my time filing appeals and exemptions when I received my tax bill. My yearly trips to the tax office to file the above-mentioned papers was to no avail. It took an inspector that came to my home for an inspection to share the information that I was eligible for the school tax exemption. I did not file for the years in question. Since that time, I've been trying to recover the overpayment. Please help me to recover the overpayments. It is sad to know that I was not able to get the help when I was going there every year with the tax payment. That's all that I have to say.
Do we have any questions?
Yeah,
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Carr, this is Commissioner Sykes. I just have a question for you. What you're talking about is the exemption from school tax once you reach the age of 65. Am I correct?
Hey,
Yes, it is.
Okay. When you say you have been going to the tax commissioner's office for the last few years, you've said you had 4 years of overpayment. Did you go to the tax commissioner's office to actually file for this?
All right, thank you.
I did not know about the school tax exemption. I am not from Augusta. As I said before, I retired, and without knowing anything about Augusta, I just flew from Germany here to make here my home. I am not a person that goes around questioning. When they charge me, I just pay. I would come to the office, and the people I was working with, they would tell me, you're not allowed any more exemption.
Okay, then so so when you find out about the 65-year-old exemption from age 65, you can that's been a law in Augusta for a little while. So one of the issues we have is that money went directly to the school board, not the county commission, because that is what it was for. So that I'm not saying you can't get a resolution here. But I do want to point out to you that the city did not receive that money from you, even though the tax commission office collected it. It went to the school board. Did you speak with them at all?
I did not. The only place that I knew that I had to talk, I tried everything, was in the tax arena. I never went to the school. My wife worked with the school's office. She was in the school system, so I had to go there to help my wife when she was retiring and getting that retirement done.
Okay, Mr.
Mr.
Carr.
Let me
Go
say
ahead,
I'm
sir.
finished,
Go ahead,
please,
sir.
sir. All right. Well, Mr.
Go
Carr, I wish you the best on that, but I'm really not sure if this was the place for you, but I'll see what my colleagues want to do. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem,
Well, go ahead, sir.
Mr. Carr, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good.
Great, sir. How long ago was it when you actually found out that you would be eligible once you turn 65? How long ago was that at this point?
It was 2016, I was putting on an addition, and the inspector that came to inspect the home, he was the one that told me that I have been overpaying. And since then, I have already filed for that exemption. So I have been getting it for the last 2 years, I think. But the year in question, when I actually filed it, they said I was too late.
Yeah.
What I would like to say here I was helping other people while I was in service, and I can't help myself. I was coming here and I thought I was doing the right thing by coming here and talking with the people and trying to get their help, and I would be told, you have no more exemption.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you
Well,
okay, sir?
I just want to make sure you have fill out for it at this point. And I know that's important that you have to actually put in the application to receive an application, then you won't receive it. And it seems like once you were at the county asking for exemptions, they probably was telling you probably right. I don't know whether, like I said, at the same time, whether you actually knew about, you say you didn't know about being 65 years old, but like Commissioner Sawyer say, that's been around for the last 30, 40 years there, but you say you're not from here. But I think it normally be in the tax bill as well. And another point that the city get the money, tax commission collected, but that money is passed on to the school board.
Anyone else? Mr. Carr, I just spoke with Stephen Kendricks. He said it's obvious that you didn't go speak with people in the tax commissioner's office. So before we move forward with anything, I'd like for you to go talk with Mr. Kendricks in the tax commissioner's office. And then if you don't get some type of help or whatever you need, then come back to us. But as they said, 65 has been around for a long time, and it's in your tax bill every year. But that's not to say that you're not owed something. So I'd like for you to just go down to the first floor and go see Stephen Kendricks in the tax commissioner's office. And he said he'll be able to help you, sir.
Okay, I would not want to say I'm not going there because I have spent the last year talking to his office. He has a deputy that sent me across the other end of the hall. I've spent the last 4 years trying to recover this money. I've not spoken to Mr. Kendrick himself, but his deputy, I spoke with at length. And then at the end, he sent me to Mr. Robertson, who is on the other end of the hall. So I can go back to him.
Okay.
I've never spoken to Mr. Kendrick personally.
Yes, sir. I'd like for you to go see Mr. Kendricks.
Okay, sir. I will do that.
All right. All right. And I just spoke with him. He said he's going to sit down with you, help you understand what's going on. And if you have a refund coming, then he'll help you with that, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
All right. Yeah, Ms. Bonner, where are we going now?
We're at our consent agenda, sir.
Okay. You want to go through that real quick for us,
Sure.
Ms. Bonner?
Yes, our consent agenda consists of items 1 through 24. Items 1 through 24. Mr. Sherman, if he's in the public space, would he please acknowledge if there are any objectors to any of our planning petitions as we move through the agenda? And for our alcohol petition, item number 7, items 1 through 7, if you would please acknowledge if there are any objectors.
Any alcohol? Ms. Bonner, there are no objectors for either the planning or the alcohol petition.
Thank you. Our consent agenda consists of items 1 through 24 with no objectors to our planning petitions nor our alcohol petition.
Okay. At this time, we'll entertain whether or not we want to put anything else on the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor Pro
Anyone?
Tem, can we consent number 29?
Okay, 29.
Could I add, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem? The
Go ahead,
General
ma'am.
Counsel would like you to also consider adding a special call meeting for 12:30. Since we're not having committees, then we wouldn't have a special call meeting for this meeting. And he's asking that that be added to this request as well.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Any more? I'd like to add 20.
Hey,
unless-
you got number 8.
All right. I got 8, Brandon, Commissioner Garrett.
Yes, sir. I'd like to pull item 18, just for some clarification.
Okay, you want to pull 18? Okay.
Mr. Pro Tem,
Yes, sir.
can we add 25 and 26 with no objections?
25 and 20,
But
25 and 26.
Excuse me.
District 3.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'd
ma'am.
like to discuss 25. That's okay.
Okay. Pull, leave
Well,
25. But I can say with 25 movement into the established final budget. Okay. 27, Mr. Garrett.
I got questions on
Commissioner
that one.
Garrett? You got questions on that one? Okay. What about 28?
We have a question on 27.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
Commissioner Shaw
Okay.
said.
Okay, thank you.
Did anybody object to
Okay, so
26?
No,
nobody objected to 26.
Okay.
Nobody objected to 29. What about the, is there anything, okay, the airport on the addendum,
I got
Linda.
one more, Mayor Pro Tem.
go ahead, sir.
If there's no objections, I'd like to remove item 27.
Remove item 27.
delete this one.
If there's no objections.
I think it'd be good if we discussed it.
All right, so be it.
I mean,
All right,
It's
okay,
because-
so we'll leave 27. We'll leave 27. So right now, we've got 25, 26, and 29. Going on the consent agenda, we've got number 18 being pulled.
No, sir,
Okay.
25
And-
is not. Oh, I'm sorry.
what,
Oh, 25, oh, you got a discussion.
Yeah, it's not.
District 3 wants
Yeah.
to discuss 25.
Right.
Okay, on the
and,
on the addendum agenda, Ms. Bond, let's put number 1. That's the airport, right?
Yes, sir.
On the consent agenda. Okay, Commissioner from the 3rd.
yes,
Commissioner from
you
the
did
3rd.
pull 28 to you did pull 28, didn't you, to discuss?
It's not
28
on the
is
consent
on
agenda.
it's on the regular,
Excuse me,
it's on the regular
Okay.
agenda.
it's on the regular. Okay, got my
All right.
papers here. All right, well, okay,
Okay,
sorry about that.
okay, Ms. Bond, you got that?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Who's on first?
Who's on second?
all right,
Now,
Motion to approve as stated.
let me
Okay.
read this so for clarification. That will be
Thank you.
our consent agenda. Items 1 through 24, pulling item number 18 for discussion. Adding items 26, 29, with the addition of a special call meeting at 12:30 PM, along
Mhm.
with item number 1 on our addendum agenda. That will
Yes.
that will be the consistent of our consent agenda.
yes, ma'am.
And that's-
Second.
Okay, Mr. Franum and Mr. Silas.
Correct.
And we're voting for it now. Mr. Clark,
Voting,
Yes.
Mr. Franum,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garrett,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hassan,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Johnson,
yes, ma'am.
Ms. McKnight,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Scott,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sias, Mr. Bobby Williams,
yes, ma'am.
Mr. Dennis Williams.
Yes, ma'am.
That motion carries unanimously.
All right, let's start with 18, Ms. Bonner.
Okay. Item number 18 is a motion to approve creating a committee composed of Commissioner Ben Hassan as chairman, Sammy Sias, Dennis Williams, Brandon Garrett, and John Clark, along with the administrator and the attorney to further continue discussions of the MOU with Gold Cross.
All right, Commissioner from the 8th.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Just real quick on this one, I was during the committee meeting last week. I think there was just a conversation back and forth. I think that there was maybe something lost in translation, but if I could get Commissioner Hassan to chime in, because I believe he's the one that made the agenda motion about stating what this was exactly for and what the purpose would be. Just for clarification, Commissioner, if you could help me out on that.
Commissioner Hassan?
Thank you, sir. Yes, what I was saying is that this actually was not so much about sitting down and negotiating and taking in consideration that Go Cross as an MOU. This is more about us creating an internal system, what we think the EMS service should look like. That we create a document, we create some requirements for ourselves, and some measurements, some things that we can measure, something that we can expect out of this process. That was the goal of it. And I'm thinking, looking at that motion, it may create some problems for you, but I'd like to make a substitute, not make a substitute, but make another motion for clarity, because this has nothing to do here with sitting out with Go Cross at this particular time. And so go ahead. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, if you're going to go ahead and make the motion, go ahead.
Yeah.
But
okay.
you know, that was my confusion too.
Yes, okay. I'd like the motion to appoint a subcommittee to develop and recommend key criteria, guidelines, and performance standards for ambulance services in Richmond County for the protection of the citizens of Richmond County. The committee will consist of Commissioner Dennis Williams, Commissioner Simon Sayers, Commissioner John Clark, Commissioner Brandon Garrett, and Commissioner Ben Hassan as its chair. Also, the administrator, general counsel, 911 director, and the fire chief are his representative. That's my motion.
Commissioner from the 10.
Second.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. One clarification on this. Will the meetings, they will have to take place publicly, won't they?
Yeah, yes, sir. I think this is not a negotiation. I think I welcome the public. I personally welcome the public to take a look at the document that we're creating, to see that we are being as transparent about what we're asking. Once you start talking about down the road, sometime negotiating at that particular time, then we would respectfully do what I would encourage to do, exactly what some people are interested in, and that would be our administrator and our attorney at that particular time go sit down and talk after we create some things that represent what we would like at the end of the day. So I welcome the public conversation about creating the criteria.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner, for verifying that. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. So just to be clear, this is not something where you're trying to bring Go Cross to the table. This is just something where we're looking at what we want. Is there anyone else before we move? Anyone else? Ms. Bonner, we're voting.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Mr. Franum,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garrett,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Son,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. McKnight,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Scott,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sayers,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Bobby Williams,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Dennis Williams.
Yes, ma'am.
That motion carries unanimously.
All right, let's go to number 25, Ms. Bonner.
Item number 25 is a motion to approve amendment number 9 to agreement with ESG Operations, Inc. to establish the final budget amount for 2021.
All right, Commissioner from the 3rd.
Yes, I got a couple of questions that I'd like to ask about it. I just want to know, what is the ESG bidding work when we have a procurement department? Why is the ESG bidding work when we got a procurement department? Just got a question on that.
Okay. We got somebody to answer that for us?
I got a few other questions, so if you want me to keep going, I can.
Yes, so we actually have Mr. Westbine, who I believe this came through utilities. And in addition to that, our procurement leader is also in the waiting room. So if give us 1 second, we can have IT come in I'm sorry, if Jeff from IT can let to in, and we can address it from both in procurement standpoint as well as functionality. And our procurement leader is also in the waiting room, so give us one second.
The YouTube off, Mr. White.
Jeff from IT can let to in, and we can.
Is Mr. Byrne in?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Byrne,
Good afternoon, everybody.
good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
Did you hear the question, Mr. Byrne?
If you could repeat it so I make
Yeah.
sure I'm on track with the question.
Okay, that's fine. Good afternoon, Wes. Mr. Bond, excuse me. Why does ESG bidding work when we have a procurement department?
The items that are core to this agenda item
Mhm.
are components that are part of the normal plant operations. I think that as part of this, that's encapsulated within their work area. And these are things that are required to fully function in the wastewater plant. The heat exchanger and the chlorine generation system are components of the process that are integral to operations on the plant site. And both of those have got a relatively short return. The water tank maintenance contract is one we've had a ongoing water tank maintenance contract with several other vendors through the years. However, they had a opportunity to provide that service, and that's an inspection service that has to be done on a periodic basis, annually, biannually, depending on the tank and the condition of it. And so they had the capability to do it, and as a professional service, that was let to them. The tank painting, which I believe is the thing that is the most at issue, was a situation where staff bid that through the procurement department, and they ended up with the original people that submitted, the two vendors that submitted were deemed non-compliant. And so as part of the tank, it was a negotiated item before I got here, trying to put ESG together to deliver this as a service, basically to oversee the tank painting. And so just basically having them manage it as part of the scope. If that is something that's not acceptable to the commission, we can look at it and rebid it. The other pieces are absolutely core to the operation of the plant and have a 2-year typically return time until they start to pay for themselves or save money over the life of the operation.
Yeah, few other questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
I just would like to, do all the contracts over $25,000 have to be bid by law?
I will defer that to procurement for the specific details.
Okay.
It depends on the nature of work.
Hey, I'm asking some questions.
Hang on,
Administrator.
Administrator, hang on a second. Miss McKnight, go ahead and finish your question, please.
Okay, I'll ask another. I mean, I'm just wanting to get some ideas here. I have some questions, and I feel like I have a right to ask them. Do you have to have a performance bond for all construction on government projects?
Again, I'm going to defer that to the specific requirements of the contract as originally extended. And as this one was originally established in 2009, I don't know if it was waived or accepted. However, if you'd like me to, I can go back and recover that specific information for you. Certainly don't mind. I don't know whether this one required a bid or performance bond. In this particular case, I don't know what they put this collateral to ensure successful completion of the project. Because it's an ongoing services contract, they may not have supplied one in a direct construction sense. However, it's a situation where if there's a specific concern you have on the plant site itself, as though maybe the heat exchanger or the chlorine generation system wouldn't be fully executed and it might cause us some impact or harm, I think we hold their overall contract for those items if in fact it's not part of that. But I'll be happy to look into that for you and get you more level of detail.
Yeah, because I got several more questions that I, would like to, ask what is included in the contract adjustments. But if you would like to send me I can send you some questions that I've got and maybe you can help answer.
We can answer those today.
Okay, hang on a second, Mr. Administrator. All right, Mr. Garrett from the 8th.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I have a question for either procurement or for our utilities director.
Go ahead, sir.
All right,
Yes, sir.
thank
Go
you.
ahead.
in regards to these items that we're looking at, were these items already bid out? Yeah, I think it was my understanding that there was a bid process that took place and there were some non-compliant bids. Is that correct?
That's what it is.
Yes, for the water tanks, that's correct. For the water tank painting services, the individual items that were procured previously, it's my understanding that the services were procured through the city's process, but that they were awarded through the contract itself. So that they followed the procurement process in order to get bids on the material, but acquired them through this contract.
All righty. Thank you for that clarification. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, Administrator Donald.
Yes, sir. I wanted to make sure because Commissioner McKnight had some questions and we're prepared to answer them, but Mr.
Absolutely.
Stein wouldn't be able to answer them all on his own. And so I know one of them was about whether items over a certain threshold need to be procured. We're very prepared to answer that. Ms. Sams is on here. And so just to start that off, there does have to be a procurement over a certain threshold. I think this one is unique in that it was procured, but the bidders were deemed non-compliant. Based on your procurement code, you're then able to take an additional step, and that's what occurred here. And so we didn't want to leave that hanging without an answer being provided. And so Director Sams is on the call and can answer that. And so I know you're trying to move along, Mayor Pro Tem, but wanted to make sure you got those answered.
No, she's good. Is she there?
Director Sams? I thought I saw her join.
I don't know, she's on, but apparently she's having some technical problems, audio problems. We can't hear her.
Got it. What we can do, we'll make sure that she calls in and gets access, huh? Oh, I see Daryl. I see her procurement assistant director, Daryl, is on. Maybe he can respond in her while she's having technical difficulties.
To make sure I have full clarity to your question tonight, is it a particular bid you're referencing?
I'm just asking some questions. I just wanted to ask.
Per the city's code, anything over 25,000 that involves the city has to be bidded.
All right. Was there a contract adjustment for 2020?
For 2020 concerning what, ma'am?
Just in general, what we're trying to get at here, what's on the table for today, other things in the past. I'm just asking some questions. I felt like it's a simple, yes or no.
No, that's a simple question. This is the 2019 adjustment and reconciliation, which has never been done in the past on this contract. This extension is for 2021 operations, but the reconciliation is through 2019.
Okay, all right. I have others, but we can move on if Mayor Pro Tem.
You can ask away. I'll try to answer everything I can.
And like I say, I'm new on board. I just would like to, get these answers, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd ask them. What is it? Okay. Go ahead.
Just suggesting. That you answer your major question. We answer your major questions, and
that's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Anyone else with comments? Mr. Bynes, I would recommend that you bring Commissioner McKnight in. You guys sit down and talk about,
Absolutely.
her questions.
Yes, we will.
Okay.
That'd be good. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else there? Anyone else there? Well, I need a motion up or down. I need a motion.
Motion to.
Second.
All right. Got a motion and a second to approve. Excuse me. Ms. Bonner.
Yes, sir. That was Mr. Sykes and Mr. Brandon Garrett, right?
I think it was Mr. Hassan and Brandon Garrett.
He was trying to get in, Commissioner Hassan.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So voting.
Mr. Clark.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Franham.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garrett.
Yes.
Mr. Hassan.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
Miss McKnight,
No, ma'am.
Miss Scott,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sias,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Bobby Williams,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Dennis Williams.
Yes, ma'am.
That motion carries 9-1 with Miss McKnight voting no.
Ms. Bond, I'm going to jump over to the addendum, and I think we can put 2 and 3 together if there's no objection to that. I think it's pretty.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Hold on.
Oh, you got an objection, Mr. You got an objection, Mr. Sias?
I don't have a problem putting it together, but I ain't finna hear nobody say moving, we gone. No, sir.
Moving, we going for moving, and we're going for what?
Okay, we can have them together, Commission Pro Tem, but I need to speak on it.
And we're gonna let you speak on it, sir.
He got to let his cat out.
Okay, all right. All right.
Okay.
Got the
Item
wrong
2
word.
and 3 as companion items.
Yes, ma'am.
Item 2 is a request to approve a request for moving Augusta Engineering Department resources from Eagles Way to Broad Street. Number 3 is a motion to approve and authorize 2-phase relocation improvement process to permanently relocate the Augusta Engineering, Traffic Engineering, 1947 Eagles Way location operation to 1568 Broad Street. Facility per relocation plan. Approve also allocation not to exceed $500,000 for completion of relocation renovations as phase 1 improvements. 2, completion and submittal of phase 2 relocation improvements, construction plan and funding sources by April 13th to the commission for phase 2 improvement final approval.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Bonner. Commissioner Sias.
Thank you very much, Mayor Pro Tem. One of the things I want to say here is even why I'm concerned about this item, the engineering department is one of our critical departments, and we call on them to do work all the time. And we need to make sure as we are relocating them, that we have listened and taken into serious consideration what they want. And I'll just say for a quick example, to my colleague, Commissioner McKnight, when you call on them for Flowing Wells Road out there near the little small industrial park, they were right on the money to get out there and get that done. So we need to make sure that we are listening. And I just said that as a reference, Commissioner McKnight, we call on them quite often. And that was just a recent example. And I've called on them many, many times myself. My concern here is that we are moving them from Eagles Way. And number one, I don't think what they desire has been fully incorporated into the thought process of making the move. Secondly, I want to make sure that myself and my colleagues understand clearly what we are doing. I asked for a walkthrough the other day just for my own clarification. It wasn't a commission agenda or anything, but I wanted to get my own clarification of what's going on over there. And there was some striking revelations during that meeting, during that walkthrough, I should say. And one of them I want to share, not at the moment, but that's concerning some of the flooding issues. So the bottom line is, I think we really should take in consideration what the engineering department, what they're particularly asking for. So I'm going to make a substitute motion, the exact same as the original motion was read by Ms. Bonner, only to add to it that we will ensure we take in consideration of what the Augusta Engineering Department desires at this site. And that's my substitute motion.
Is there a motion on the floor?
No, we don't have a motion on the floor. Hang on a second, Mr. All right, we're going to Mr. Garrett, Commissioner from the 8th.
I believe my colleague from the 4th spoke just about as well as I could towards this item, and I 100% support his motion.
Okay, Commissioner from the 3rd, you had your hand up.
Oh, no, I'm just commissioner from the 4th. Yeah, I didn't get to go on that walkthrough, so maybe we can go one day and I'll walk through it with you. But anyway, thank you.
Okay,
We
Ms.
certainly
Bonner.
can- We certainly can do
I
that.
have Commissioner Williams.
Hang on. Hang-
Now,
Okay, Commissioner Hassan.
Yes, I'd like to ask the administrator a question, please, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Administrator, in this motion, I know Commissioner Patterson added something to it. I think he got it, this everything happening in, I think, a couple of phases. I'm kind of, it may not be problematic, so if it's not problematic, just let me know. I don't like the sign of saying, okay, limit that first phase to only $500,000. If we know they're gonna be permanent, let's go ahead and find the money that you do everything they need to do, as opposed to just limiting them. You're saying that's all we got on hand currently, $500,000, because they're putting the limitations on it, and that was all we was gonna get. Now they want that to slow down the process of what the overall intent is.
Well, no, I think Commissioner Sayers, we actually had a few very in-depth conversations about this. So I think the way he's doing it is right on the money. The commission has already previously allocated about $500,000 for the temporary move. And what he's saying is now we have until April 13th to identify additional cost as well as potentially augment that. So I think with the land swap that we've already done, the amount of time and the allocation, I'm very comfortable with the recommendation or the motion that he has put on the floor, because it allows us to move temporarily and then come back and add resources to make it permanent. And so I think he hit the nail on the head there.
Thank you.
Gotcha. Is Malik anywhere around?
Yes,
Dr.
sir. I think
Malik
they're all in the waiting room.
We fine.
We're good.
We good.
You think we're good? You think we're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Bonner, let's go ahead and vote on it then.
Can we get that motion restated just for clarity?
Didn't you state it? You gotta have it restated. All right,
Let's
Ms.
get to
Bonner.
the day, Mayor Pro Tem. Let's get that motion read for clarity.
Come on, Ms. Bonner.
The motion is to approve and authorize two-phase relocation improvement processes to permanently relocate the Augusta Engineering Department Traffic Engineering at 1947 Eagles Way location operations to 1568 Broad Street. Facility per relocation plan approved also includes allocation not to exceed $500,000 for completion or relocation renovations as phase 1 improvements. And 2, completion and submittal of phase 2 relocation improvements construction plan and funding sources by April 13th to the Augusta Commission for phase 2 improvements final approval, and to ensure that Augusta Engineering Department insight, consideration, and recommendations
Or included.
are included. Okay.
All right, voting, Ms. Bonner.
Mr. Clark,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Frenham,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garrett,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hassan,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. McKnight,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Scott,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sayers,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Bobby Williams,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Dennis Williams.
Yes, ma'am.
That motion carries unanimously.
All right, number 27, Ms. Bonner.
Number 27 is a motion to approve the appointment of Brandon Dial to the Urban Redevelopment Agency, replacing Brad Owens.
Okay, Mr. Garrett, do you or Mr. Johnson want to speak on it? I know you tried to pull it and Mr. Johnson wanted to keep it on. So which one of you want to speak on it?
I'll speak to it. This is an appointment to the URA, and I think this may be misstated by saying replacing Brad Owens, but he had to step down because his address is changing. We appreciate his service to the community, and I believe that Ms. Bonner has a letter of appreciation prepared for him.
Yes, if that's the will of the commission to be heard, yes, sir.
Mhm, mhm.
Thank
All right,
Not at this moment.
hang on a second, sir.
Okay,
Commissioner from the
but,
first.
Well, I think
Commissioner
just,
from the first.
thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I think just for conversation's sake, it was good to bring this appointment up to clarify the replacing language to this whole appointment. I believe Commissioner Sias had a question about it, but like I said, I just thought it would be good to clarify the replacing portion of this appointment, because certainly that's not what's happening.
Okay, Mr. Commissioner from the fourth, Mr. Size.
No, I was separating the two things about one for Mr. Owens. I think we just need to wrap this up, and then if there's appreciation letter from Ms. Owens, that's fine. Mr. Owens, that's fine. But I also want to honor my colleague's request from the A to delete this item, so I move that we delete it.
If we're gonna, can I say something?
Go ahead, Mr. Hassan.
Commissioner, I think that if I'm not mistaken, the URA board is a 3-person board that is selected by the commission. And if he's no longer, based on this resident, they're gonna be a person short when they begin to take action. They won't have enough, so unless you're gonna bring back somebody at the next meeting. So you're gonna have to be a person short.
Well,
This is a 3-person board.
Well, he did receive a second. So is there a motion to approve or what?
I didn't get a second. Mr.
No.
Sa-
I think
No,
it's
we
more of a name for nomination, is it, Ms. Bonner? The name be put up for nomination?
Yeah, the floors are up for nominations now.
Um,
It's technically a nomination of Mr. Dial to the URA board, replacing the position held by Mr. Brad Owens.
Okay, second.
Okay, hey,
Nomination closed.
okay, so we got, hang
Wait,
on a second,
Mr.
sir. We got a, Ms. Bonner, we got a motion by who?
Mr. Dennis Williams. He
Okay,
nominated
so,
Mr. Brandon
Okay.
Dial.
okay, so who did a second on that one?
You don't, no, just need Commissioner Sun move that nominations be closed. So we're at the voting
Okay,
point now.
all right, so let's go ahead and vote, Ms. Bonner.
Okay. Mr. Clark,
Would you please read the motion again, please?
the motion will be to approve the appointment of Mr. Brandon Dial to the Urban Redevelopment Agency, replacing the position held by Mr. Brad Owens.
Sit up, Commissioner.
Yes.
Mr. Franum,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garrett,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sun,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. McKnight,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Scott,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sias,
Same.
Mr. Bobby Williams,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Dennis Williams.
And that'll be a yes.
That
All
motion
right.
carries 9-1 with Mr. Sias abstaining.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes, sir.
could we have the letter of appreciation read into the record, please?
Yes, sir. Ms. Bonner.
Yes. March 16, 2021, Mr. Brad E. Owens, Augusta, Georgia. Dear Mr. Owens, the Augusta Commission would like to take this opportunity to thank you and to express our sincere appreciation to you for your tenure as a member of the Augusta Redevelopment Agency. All Augustans, in one way or another, have benefited from your outstanding leadership and civic dedication. Again, thank you for taking the time out to serve your community in such an admirable way. We wish you the very best in all your future endeavors. Yours very truly, Augusta, Georgia Commission.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Ms. Bonner, number 28.
Number 28, discuss resuming in-person meetings in the commission chamber on May 1st, 2021, requested by Commissioner Catherine McKnight.
Commissioner McKnight?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Donald, do you have anything from when we talked back in February, on the 2nd of February, and you were gonna bring back
I
to the
do.
table?
I do.
Okay.
Today at 12:11 p.m., I forwarded those recommendations to the commission, both the final draft of the Augusta Forward Plan, as well as a letter that outlined those recommendations. Very quickly, those recommendations were for the commission to implement a telework policy that's complete. Look at the potential consideration of priority vaccine distribution, develop an implementation plan to get into the chambers. That's included in that document. Then I also recommended that we receive a briefing from DPH in April in advance of potentially going back into the chambers for the first commission meeting in May. And my recommendation is that if you proceed in that manner, that it be for the commission meetings only, not for the committee meetings. And so it's in detail in that letter, but it provides the step-by-step on how I believe we should do that. But, you know, pending that confirmation from DPH, my recommendation would be the first commission meeting in May of 2021. That is early.
Thank you. Thank you.
And committee meetings would still be virtual?
Yes, sir. And that recommendation also, it includes the number of people that can enter into the commission chambers. I think the total is about 40, and it would include about 8 to 10 people from the public. So it would still require us to stream our meetings so that people could benefit both at home as well as those that are in person.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner McKnight, that's the motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Hang on a second. Mr. Harson, go ahead.
Yes, I have a question for the administrator.
Yes, sir.
Yes, for the Mr. Administrator,
Yes,
you were
sir.
saying about us having a conversation, bringing in the Department of Public Health. Will you bring them in as a workshop, or will you bring them in? How will you bring them in? I know the latter
Yeah,
part
I mean,
of April you were saying.
So my recommendation is that if you agreed to target March and you look at those detailed recommendations that we have, while we're staff, none of us are medical experts. And so to make sure that we're in line with all of the guidelines, as well as, you know, the pandemic has not gone away, making sure we're in line with those safety measures, about 30 days before that, you would hear from DPH as they evaluate what we're doing and give us appropriate feedback. So if there's anything we need to add or whatever's necessary before going back in the chambers, we let the medical experts give us insight on that. While they helped us develop the overall plan, they've not had the ability to give you direct feedback.
So my question once again is, will you do this as a workshop and bringing them in?
Yes, I mean, I guess we can call it a workshop, or agenda item is actually up to the commission. Yeah.
I would recommend a workshop, because we're getting a workshop just on that, probably about a week out or 2 weeks out based on their availability. But I would recommend a workshop so we could just focus on that and won't have to be jumping around. That's just my recommendation.
Okay, got it. Receive.
Got you. Hang on a second. Commissioner from the third.
Yeah, I was just gonna do like I did last time and just go ahead and make a motion to go back on May 1st with the recommendations of a earlier on workshop. But,
Second.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second, Ms. Bonner.
Okay, that
I'd like to
was
make a substitute motion.
session. Okay.
I like to make a substitute motion.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Let me first, and I don't mean to put you in the middle of the administrator in the middle of, do you find that to be in conflict, or would you like us to try to wait till you come in, or you think that's fine and we make adjustments if need be?
No, I think making the motion to go back for the first commission meeting in May is fine, and to leave the committee meetings virtual. That's what my recommendation is. I'm not sure if that didn't sound like what the commission is voting and seconding, but I'm I'm
Yeah.
not certain if that's their intent also.
Okay, I'll look at the substitute motion and I'd like to make a substitute motion to honor that which number one, May 1st, virtual, the committee cycle, and do a workshop with DPH the middle of April.
Okay, so let me clear it up. So committee meetings in person. No, commission meetings in person. Commission meetings in person, committee meetings virtual, and do a workshop.
Yes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the substitute. We're voting, Ms. Bonner.
Okay, Mr. Clark,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Franum,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garrett,
No.
Mr. Son,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. McKnight,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Scott, I'm sorry, Ms. Scott,
Yes, ma'am. I won't do you like I did Commissioner Hassan.
I do, well, he may be out to lunch. Mr. Stias, I'm sorry.
I was gonna just be here, but after that from Miss Scott, I guess I better say yes.
That's right.
Mr. Bobby Williams,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Dennis Williams.
Yes.
Bragging me, but I tell you.
She's exercising her prerogative as woman, International Women's Month.
What we got, Ms.
Just
Bonner?
like it is. Yes, sir, that motion carries with Mr. Garrett voting no. Okay,
Okay. Do we have any other business today, Ms. Bonner?
no, sir, I believe that's it. That's a wrap.
Would y'all like to stay another 30 minutes?
What
Isn't
happened,
there one-
what happened to the airport?
You gonna say, Mr.
What happened to
Garrett?
the airport?
It was added to the consent agenda.
Yeah, the month to month was added to the consent agenda.
Well, Mr. Chairman, can I
Go
just,
ahead, Mr. Hassan.
we had a meeting the other day, myself, and Mr. Bobby Williams, with the chairman, as well as the director of the airport. And what they was actually asking, they're putting something back on the street currently in terms of putting a project back out there. But at the same time, they need to do some advertisement immediately because the industry is picking back up. So they're doing month to month with that. And at the same time, they're putting the bid out on the street. And so we just give them something to lead because the industry is picking back up.
Right.
Thank you for the clarity, Commissioner Son. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, anything else, Mr. Donald?
I have a question, Mayor
I'm
Pro
coming
Tem.
to you. I'm coming to you, Mr. Donald.
No, sir, nothing else.
All right, Commissioner Garrett.
This question is back to the airport conversation. Commissioner Hassan just said they're putting this back out on the street. Do we have a time frame for when the new contracts or agencies will be selected?
No, actually, they was just waiting on us because we know we had put them on hold for a while. And so we were just waiting on us. So I think they probably got it ready to go. And so I think you probably can talk with them to try to see exactly. I'll be able to know at the next meeting, I'll come back and inform the turnaround time. I don't know how long.
Yeah, but I also think it was it 60 days or 90 days they expected to have somebody?
Possibly so.
60 or 90, one of the two. Okay, any other questions? Any other questions? You guys have a
Attorney
great day.
Brown.
I think the attorney had a question.
All right, Mr. Brown. Y'all just don't want to go home, Mr. Brown.
I know.
You muted. You muted, Mr. Brown.
No, I did not want to go home, but just for future purposes, when an agenda is over, the commission is not allowed to have further conversation as it did today. It is out of order.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're
All
gonna
right, so
say that.
you all so go ahead and cut your computers off. We'll see you later.